Hey man, of course I know computers. I know all the Twitters. Logan Lucky is directed by Steven Soderbergh, stars Channing Tatum, Adam Driver and Daniel Craig, and it's the story of Jimmy, played by Channing Tatum, and his brother Clyde, played by Adam Driver, and it is about their plan to steal from a NASCAR event with their group of friends during the biggest race of the year. This movie looked really fun to me when I saw a lot of the previews. Obviously I go to a lot of movies, so I see a lot of previews. This movie looked really cool to me, and this was actually a pretty good time. Logan Lucky is a real ensemble piece kind of movie, and I quite like ensemble movies. You know, you've got quite a few, like maybe the Captain America films when they get quite later into like Civil War, etc. And you've got the Oceans movies, and I like that kind of big ensemble piece. I would compare Logan Lucky to something like Oceans 11. It is very much that kind of ragtag group of people, but this is just a redneck kind of version to me. The movie's main characters, Jimmy and Clyde, of course played by Tatum and Driver, are hilarious together. You can really tell the two of them had a lot of fun playing brothers who just have to look out for each other a lot of the time. You know, one of them has his arm off, the other one has hurt his knee, and they really do care for each other and look after each other. They're two people I didn't really think I'd see in movies together, but the fact that they are, and the fact that it works really well, was actually really surprising to me. I really enjoyed them as a pair. Keeping with Jimmy, he also has a beautiful relationship with his little daughter, played by Farrah McKenzie. She is a really nice little child actress. She really worked well with Channing Tatum. You could really tell she's a daddy's girl. They're both brilliant together. She's a really competent child actress as well. Her mother and father in this movie are divorced, so she's going in between them. It sort of sets up sort of a main plot between the two of them. The mother, played by Katie Holmes as well, rather well I think, but the relationship these two have, especially near the end when she sings a song for him, they both have a connection with each other through the artist John Denver. It's just so adorable, and I couldn't keep my eyes off the pair of them. They were both, the chemistry was just flawless. There were two characters in this movie that had me crying with laughter a lot of the time. The first one was, of course, Adam Driver. He plays Clyde, who's lost his arm, as I mentioned, in Iraq. And his arm sort of becomes a secondary character. He gets in many scrapes and misfortunes with it. A hilarious one with a blower. It's just brilliant. The fact that he had to incorporate his arm so heavily into the movie, it shows how well he is. Now, if you don't know who Adam Driver is, he is of course Kylo Ren in the new adaptations of Star Wars. This is the total sort of different thing for him. This is one of the first comedic roles I've ever seen him in. Hilarious. I really enjoyed him. He plays a hick rather well. He's not supposed to be the smartest guy in the world. There's a little bit of intelligence sort of in there, but he really worked on his character really well, and the fact that he had to use that prop so prominently and do it so well without it getting boring. Well done. Woo! Number two is, of course, Mr. Daniel Craig, who played Joe Bang. Now, if you've been under a rock for the last few years, I'll explain who Daniel Craig is. Of course, he is James Bond. Now, as Joe Bang is a total 180. Dear Lord. He's brought in by Jimmy and Clyde to help them with the heist on the NASCAR track. The fact that he makes silly explosives out of gummy bears, the fact that he's just, the whole thing is about liking salted eggs, but he has a thing with salt, so he has to have a salt alternative. It's almost the same as Adam Driver in his arm. It becomes another thing about him so prominently, but it's not boring. The jokes are never drawn out too much. And the fact that you get James Bond and then Joe Bang, you never expect Daniel Craig to be so funny. One of the best performances I've ever seen him in is probably Layer Cake. So he's done things very similar. Layer Cake, James Bond, then Joe Bang. Where did that come from? Not only that, but he's brilliant. You can tell that he loved getting away from serious roles, getting away from the James Bond thing for a while, and just having fun with his character. And you can feel the freeness in his characterization. You could feel that he's just like, yes, and he grabbed this character, and you can tell he just fell in love with it, and you just ride along with him because you feel the freedom that he had. Now, I've been very praising about Logan Lucky so far, I would say. It's about to take a bit of a turn. What really got to me about midway through the film is that everyone is supposed to be a babbling, idiotic hick, essentially, but as soon as the heist hits its starting point, essentially, you get introduced to all these characters who say stupid lines, and really you think they couldn't put, you know, 2 paragraphs on a piece of paper together. But the heist starts and everything becomes just so fluid, like an Ocean's film. It's like they've been doing it all their lives. It's just become so fluid, and it's become so like the next step, without really saying anything. It's like it's been planned, but I'd like to know how they managed to plan it in more detail. They seem to have skipped that, so they became hicks, amazing bank robbers, in like the step of like half an hour. It's not that it was confusing to me, it was a bit sort of, okay, but let's have a little bit of exposition, let's see how you would plan these things out. Because all Channing Tatum's character had was a silly list about how to rob a bank with some really pointless notes on it. And that's how we're sort of led on to the fact that he's been looking at it for a while about doing a heist. But never brought on that any of them are actual experts at it until it happens. Very odd. Another one, and it's maybe a slight spoiler, but if you have seen it you may agree with me on this one. It's the appearance of Hilary Swank as a police officer. It seems to me, with the calibre of comedic actors in this movie, you've got Tatum, you've got the amazing performance from Daniel Craig, this Academy Award winning actress felt like she was trying too hard to be funny, almost like she was intimidated because they'd all done so well, so I must try and be serious with a hint of comedy. Didn't really work. You could have had anyone do that role, essentially, I think. There was no need to have someone like her. If anything, I just saw her and went, oh, Hilary Swank, nice. That was about it. Another thing is it sets up oddly for a sequel, and I think that's why Hilary Swank's character was in it. But it's a heist movie. Yeah, other than the Ocean's films, which had characters to build upon and characters to add, etc. This is just those hicks that did a thing and then left it alone. If they're going to make one, I'll be very surprised to see what they do if it's anything different. I just thoroughly think that it will just be another heist movie with Hilary Swank trying to get them again. Not that I wouldn't watch this movie again, but we don't need a sequel. They could have just wrapped it up in a nice little bow. They go away, blah blah blah, do what they're going to do. But they don't. They just leave it so open-ended. Very confusing. Not necessarily the worst thing in the world for me, but it really, when I left the theatre, I was like, why? Why? Other than these bad points, I'm sorry to go on about them, but I did enjoy Logan Lucky. I really did. I think that if you're going to watch this movie, watch it for Daniel Craig, just to see the huge transformation from what we're used to seeing to this excellent and comedic character. And it's a genuinely good, entertaining movie for 2 hours. It will keep you entertained. You won't go off and play with your phone or whatever. It's just a nice, cool, little fun watch. So guys, for all these reasons, I give Logan Lucky a 3 out of 5. So there you have it guys, there is my take on Logan Lucky. If you have seen the movie, please let me know what you think. I'd love to know. Don't forget to follow me on all the social networks. Click that subscribe, click that like button, you know the drill, and I'll see you all on the next video.